What's up, alchemist? We're going to get into this eclipse and what it's bringing this week. All the shifts, changes, major timeline shifts, jumping taking place with this eclipse. And we're going to get into main things that were coming up in my meditation and just ever since last night in reference to what this eclipse is bringing. And it started with a conversation I had with a friend of mine last night where she was talking about she had just moved and she was just talking about how the situation that she had moved out of, like she felt like she was being released from prison, like she was out of this prison. And um I just understood where she was coming from. I related to what she was saying so much. And I felt like it was a heavy theme for this eclipse, where one of the things that came up in the meditation was this breaking free, whether it's a job, a living situation, a spouse. There's a lot of people that are leaving situations. There's shifts and timeline jumping taking place in situations that really were holding people back, holding a lot of you back in career and in what you want to do with your career. Some of you all have started losing weight, and there was a spouse connected to you not being able to do that. By the way, another thing that came up in the meditation was heavy Scorpio, Cancer, Taurus, Aries energy. So, besides the breaking free thing, which we're going to get back to, the other thing that kept coming through was just this intense, I don't like saying this word early in the video, but this intense sexual energy. Like, it's definitely some of you all that have been getting it in. I feel like this is with somebody new. And we'll touch more on that a little bit further into the collective reading. So I don't want to bounce all over the place. But that kept coming through too, like literally in between the breakthrough messages that were coming in for this eclipse. So some of the ways to know that this collective message is for you. There were some tall girls coming through. Some of you all have like a chiseled um jawline, really strong jawline. Um there's also someone that's dealing with like partial hearing loss or may be scheduled to have some type of surgery on their ear that was also coming through. Someone with two children, or if you have more children, you have two children by one person, even if you have more than two. There's also someone that just recently tuned out a very controlling parent. Stick to your guns on that. Don't let them guilt trip you on that. Also, heavy Tom girl energy. Like even if you were just a Tom girl early in life as a kid, heavy Tom girl energy. Someone here that also played baseball or softball. Oh yeah, someone who's a singer or makes music, somehow connected to music came through. And then there's some of you that have these old friends, old exes that are going to try to creep back in during this eclipse this week. We're going to talk about that too. I really feel like the energy is that you all are going to do a good job of sticking to your guns, though. Definitely not falling back on that. Thank you for whoever sent me the hearts. So yeah, I am using some oracle decks this time around. You know, you guys know I don't always use cards. Sometimes I just straight channel. And so let's get some messages for my collective. What is the eclipse bringing this week? What is the eclipse bringing this week for the collective? What is the eclipse bringing this week for the collective? What is the eclipse bringing this week for the collective? Man, the first thing I'm noticing is that I'm really having to shuffle, which I don't normally have to do. So I feel like it's a hidden, something involving hidden messages before I even flip this over. And this is not even the deck that I intended to start with, but I did. And yeah, there's some animal lovers here too. Some of you all have pets, a dog, a cat. I'm also seeing a parrot. Yeah, some look at that. I said I'm seeing a parrot, which is a bird, and look what came up. White raven. I didn't even know there was a such thing as a white raven. Wow. That's interesting that I was talking about a bird right before I looked at the card. And then this came up, white raven spirit, trust in the magic. Ooh, I love that. And the number on the card is 66, which adds up to 12 and reduces to a 3 in numerology. It was heavy Sag energy coming through too. And when I think of 12 and the number 3, I always think of Sagittarius. So heavy Sag energy in the building as well. It says trust in magic. So listen, even though it's saying to trust in magic, I think it's not even going to require you guys trust simply because of the t- the time the timeline jumping that you guys are going to be doing. Like when you see this drastic shift, like it's really going to strengthen your faith even more than what you already had. To come in for some of you all, like I said, in terms of these breakthroughs, it's in reference to a job. You guys have been very nervous about switching careers or leaving a job, and you guys are getting the courage to do that. And the only thing that's going to be different when you take this career shift, the only thing you'll be upset about is that you didn't do it sooner. Um, like I said, the other breakthrough that I mentioned earlier was it was in reference to a living situation, a home, having trouble in the home, re- whether it's repairs or someone that you're living with. And I just see this peaceful, serene space where you guys are in a new space where you have so much peace and gratitude. Even your morning routines are going to change. Like when you get into this new space, you're going to realize how much your peace was disturbed just by how you start your mornings changing. The other thing is what I was talking about, the breakthrough with this spouse. I'm getting that this is a long, like this is someone you've been with a long time, and you've been back and forth, back and forth. For those, this is a specific message. Obviously, this isn't for everyone, but back and forth, back and forth. Am I going to stay? Am I going to go? Checking your network to see if you had a solid foundation of people that would have your back if you walked away from this marriage. And I really see that shift coming through this week. You know, whatever your belief system is, you have to believe in that over these people that you're looking to have your back if you walk away from this situation. And so I just really want you to keep in mind this white raven spirit card that's telling you to trust in the magic. Else, because I'm also seeing someone with a business and you want to tweak your brand, but you feel like you don't have the money to you can't afford to ask to pay someone to help you with that brand. Um, no, you can't afford to have someone help you with that brand. And in that particular case, do the same thing I recommended to Nate, which is looking at Fiverr, some of these freelance platforms. You're going to find someone that, even though they're not going to cover everything you need for your business, just um, the smallest ounce of help is going to just really open up room, space for you to do, for you to focus on more important things in your business that only you can do. Okay. What? Wow. I know you guys can't really see me shuffling, but oh well. I mean, this is alive. I'm doing what I can. So, this is what came up while I was shuffling. And so, it's the number 5 card, Mercury. The Magician again. Wow, that just dawned on me. So, check this out. You got the White Raven spirit card, trust in the magic. And then I'm shuffling, I'm talking, I'm channeling, and look what comes out. Mercury. So for those of you who know, Mercury is the ruler of Gemini, the sign Gemini and Virgo. And the magician card in tarot is ruled by is Gemini, represents the sign of Gemini. So it's like we have double magician energy here. Look at that. Trust in the magic. So I have to say heavy Gemini energy for that reason. I have to say that. The magician, this heavy magician energy coming through, I feel like is just confirmation to what I was already saying about this timeline jumping. And this is like this is a timeline jump that you guys have been waiting for a long time. So it is not something that I really even I feel like it's going to completely catch you off guard because for the longest you've been like, okay, any minute now. Okay, I do this and then this is going to pop off. I do this and this is going to work and nothing happens. Or there's more challenges that come your way. And so you're really going to be blindsided by this timeline jump for the better. And this is specific to those of you who are dealing with the situation in the home and who are dealing with the situation with your career. But you have to be willing to take the chance, though. You have to be willing to take the chance that I mentioned to you earlier. Because what is it with no risk? There's no reward. But I feel like this eclipse is giving you all the energy to take, it's giving you the confidence, the energy, the faith to take the risk. And when you take that risk, I'm hearing nearly instant reward. Especially listen with career. The For those of you that I mentioned, you wanted to leave this job that you've been at for a long time, or um, you're switching departments and you're nervous about that. You may be really cool with your boss. Have faith in this shift. That's what you're here for. This is what you're watching this reading for confirmation, for encouragement. Have faith to take that shift. What else came up in the meditation, you all? Oh, okay. So fine. We talked about the breakthroughs, right? Some of you all were experiencing hair loss, and when you leave this spouse or this living situation, you're going to realize that hair loss was directly connected to stress because it is going to stop and your hair is going to start to grow back. You're also going to find a product that's going to help you with that as well. But that's going to be your confirmation that you made the right choice in the shifts with the living situation and the spouse when you see the shift in the hair growth. So I guess since we've already talked about the breakthroughs, I guess we could go ahead and get into this energy of I guess we can go ahead. Okay, I'm gonna acknowledge this since we're on the live, and I did see that comment, um, Nate. Um, Nate, it's one of those three things that I talked about, and when you do one of those three things, that's when you're gonna see the shift and the confirmation of what I said about the hair loss. But you got to be willing to take that chance, whether it's with career, the home situation, or the spouse, because those are connected. Oh, also there is one other thing I wanted to mention with the hair loss. If any of you all are have really long dreads, understand the weight of your dreads are pulling out your hair. Like I know like some people who have dreads, they're just obsessed with just letting them grow and getting them as long as possible and they don't realize the weight of those dreadlocks, what they're doing to their neck, how it's pulling the hairline. And it's like if you love your dreads and want to keep them, cool, but trim them, cut them. Like you don't have to be Rumpelstiltskin. Like we get it. You've been growing your locks for a long time, but what good is it if you don't have any hairline because your locks have gotten so heavy that they're pulling your hair out? So if you have locks and you're experiencing, if you have really long locks, is what I should say, and you're experiencing hair loss, it's the weight of the locks that are pulling on your hairline and causing you to have hair loss, especially if it's around the hairline or in the crown. Okay, that was a specific message for someone. If something specific has come up in your YouTube feed that's connected to the area of work that you were considering, that is your confirmation. You got to be well. Look, you all, this is alive, okay? So we're going to roll with it. Nate, did you just say you're 13 or 14? Hey, I'm not editing this out either. And you're definitely not experiencing no dang on hair loss if you're 13 or 14 years old. Look, Nate, don't be in here trolling. I'm gonna mess around and have to block you. So you don't have any business. Yes, you're almost 14. Enjoy gaming, okay? Enjoy gaming, Nate. Let me get back to these messages. I'm not gonna block you because you're not talking crazy, so I won't block you. But I don't believe you when you say you were experiencing hair loss. You're not experiencing no dang on hair loss at no 14 years old. I hope not. I hope not. Oh man, that's funny. Even if you are trolling, that's funny. Okay, I'm gonna get back to the messages, you all. I swear. Good for you with the over 1,000 subs too, Nate. Anyways, I'm gonna shift over into the other thing that was coming up, which was some heavy, intense, passionate chemistry. And I just want to say this. This is a very specific message, okay? If you have recently been having some intimate thoughts about a person that you're not even that attracted to, or you weren't really looking at like that or thinking about like that, it's because they're thinking about you. And that's why you're having those thoughts. Just know that it's not a you thing. If you didn't have that person on your mind like that, and then all of a sudden you're getting these thoughts, that's them. And yeah, maybe, um, hmm, depending on what you're into, just calling to block their energy if it feels invasive, is what I'll say in reference to that. But yeah, some of you all definitely have someone. I feel like a couple of people that are you are very heavy on their mind, and they're having some interesting thoughts. Also, another way to know if there's messages here for you, if you have a lazy eye or a roaming eye, there's messages here for you. And I want you to know, if that's something that you want to correct, it's actually not as difficult as you think. You might think, oh, I have to pay for this procedure, or oh, it's going to be very complicated. This is what I got. It's a same day outpatient procedure, and you can have your medical insurance cover it. So talk to an eye doctor about that if it's something, especially if it's affecting your confidence. Some of you all may be in the public eye, and sometimes you may feel like it affects your confidence. Hey, this reading is confirmation that you can look into getting that fixed, and it's not as scary as you think. Something I feel called to share with you all about that. This may apply to everyone, or it might just apply to the person I'm talking to about this lazy or roaming eye. I had corrective LASIK surgery, not for a lazy or roaming eye, but just for my vision. I wore contacts and glasses, and I had corrective LASIK. I had that procedure, like, man, over 12 years ago, and it is one of the best investments I made in myself. It only took like 6.5 minutes for them to do the procedure. It was completely painless, and I don't regret anything about it. Um, so if you have fears or reservations about having that procedure done, what I got in the meditation is that it's going to be very similar to what I had done with the corrective LASIK. So, um, I don't know if it's called corrective LASIK or corrective laser. I may be thinking LASIK because that's the company I went with. But anyways, I'm here to tell you that it's not as scary as you think. Yeah, specific message for someone. Another way to know that there's messages here for you. If you have red hair, freckles, Um, yeah, or very long, thick hair. It's not just long, it's thick. There's messages here for you. Oh, some of you all have a birthmark on your face or some prominent mark on your face. Confirmation, there's messages here for you. For those of you where I was talking about, oh, some of you all just were just listening to Kanye as well. Someone here was just listening to Kanye. Or when you're having sex, you always have to have music on. So listen, for those of you that I said was in this intense new, I feel like this is a fairly new connection, but you all have been getting it in. Um, Listen, on that part, the intimacy part, cool. But on everything else, slow down. Do not let the intimacy blur your insight, blur your intuition, blur your vision. Like, enjoy yourself, but take time to let other things unfold. Okay. Um, Man, okay, I'm hearing to give you all some examples. Great. So I'm just gonna say it. In terms of moving in with this person or them moving in with you, I'm hearing for some of you all letting them drive your car. Absolutely not. Um, yeah. Ooh, and for some of you all, I'm hearing traveling out of town. Not right now. Get to know them better, please. Ooh, that was some specific message for sure. What else? Okay, so let's just get specific about how you guys are timeline jumping um, for this eclipse. So, like I said, for some of you all, the timeline jump is career. Others, it is where you're living, where the timeline jump is taking place. And others, it's this relationship. When you walk away from this spouse or this long term relationship, you're going to realize it's nowhere near as scary as what you thought it was going to be because there's peace. And now that blockage is removed for someone to come in and love you right. So, not to say that that's going to come in right away because you have some work to do yourself, but this is the timeline jump. Career, that long-term relationship, and the living situation. Those are the timeline jumps. And then, the other one about the intimacy was a side message. Let's get a closing message from my collective, man. Let's get a closing message. I'm using the Linda Goodman Oracle deck. Let me tell you, this deck is super special to me because it's my very first deck I've ever had. Very first deck I ever had, you all. What's the final message for my collective? Look at that. Didn't I say? See, this is Aries energy. This is what came up. Mars, Aries energy. I feel like that's connected back to what I was talking about with the heavy chemistry, heavy intimacy that's going on for you all because I definitely thought Aries. When I think of high sex drive, when I think of a lot of sex, I think Aries, I think Scorpio. Not calling y'all out, but it's true, Aries and Scorpios. Um, yeah, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. Get some for me. Um, oh, okay. So the other thing with the Mars message, some of you are a 9 in numerology, by the way, and some of you are a 5 in numerology. A lot of odd number numerology people coming up. 3, 5, 7, 9, yeah. But especially 9 and 5 in numerology. But what I want to also say about that Mars, man, when you guys take these chances that I said with career, when you have the shift in the home, you get into this new home, when you walk away from the relationship I mentioned, you all are going to realize how much your energy was being drained by how much energy you have. when these changes take place. This crazy energy coming through, shifting your energy coming through um, when these changes happen. So a lot of you all are thinking it's connected to your health, and there are some of you all that are losing weight for the better, and even getting wow, this is back to the conversation I was having with my friend. Even realizing you want to start adding to your wardrobe, just to help boost your confidence and want to get out more. Um, all of these things are going to be giving you energy where you may have just thought, I'm getting older or I'm not that healthy, and not realizing these situations were is what was draining your energy. It wasn't um it wasn't your health. It wasn't you getting older. Guys, for a bit before I wrap up my live, I want to also give a huge expression of gratitude for each and every one of you all that like, share, subscribe, comment on my videos. Like, it's encouraging. It makes me feel like you guys appreciate the time and energy that I put into these readings. So I really am grateful for you all that don't just sit and watch, but actually engage and give me a pom pom shake. If you feel like you need more messages, watch the next video. I will have tagged at the end of this collective. I also have a playlist of collective messages as well. If you guys feel like you need more messages, otherwise, I will see you all on the next reading.